Hey guys, I'm Mark, part of the Tiny House Giant Journey film crew. When I'm not filming unique tours for our channel, I'm building crazy box trucks like the one behind me that I'm going to show you today. This is a 2015 Freightliner 26-foot box truck, and this is going to be home for 4 guys to travel all 50 states for the next couple years. With 4 people living in this big of a rig, we need to make sure it stays warm and cool in those hot temperatures. Today, we're going to be installing the air conditioner, which we are fortunate enough to have sponsored by Mr. Cool. Since mini splits are so popular in the nomadic community, we figured you might want to watch us install from start to finish, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Of course, when you install your unit, it might be a little different than what we're doing because we're doing a bit of a custom job here, but this will give you a general idea of just how easy it is. If you're not familiar with Mr. Cool, it's a family-owned HVAC brand with a heavy focus on innovation, with products that provide efficient comfort at a reasonable price point. The multi-zone DIY ductless mini split is a do-it-yourself HVAC system that features quick connect fittings and pre-charge line sets. We chose the 18K model with a 12K head unit and a 9K head unit. The 12K is going to go in the living room, the 9K is going to go in the back room, and therefore we have a 25-foot line and a 16-foot line. So before we can complete this build, we have to get the line sets installed and hidden behind the walls. Let's go ahead and unbox these bad boys and see what we've got inside. First up is the condenser. So we're going to do something a little different with this. We have enough space under the truck that we're going to mount it behind the steps where it's safe and secure and has plenty of airflow. Next up, we've got our line sets. And the great thing about the Mr. Cool line sets is they're already pre-charged with quick connect fittings, so anyone can hook these up. They come with a nice template, which is actually really helpful when you're trying to get it mounted on the wall, so don't throw that away. Here's one of our head units. This is the 9K, so this one's slightly smaller and meant for a smaller space, so it'll be perfect in the back room, and they're so easy to install. They come with a power line, a remote, and a smart controller that works with Alexa. Ooh, and Google Assistant. Very nice. Look at that. 12K unit. That is going to be so nice in the living room. It's going to go right above the door. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to match our white walls. My favorite thing about these is they're completely DIY. We do not need to hire an HVAC specialist to come over with a vacuum pump. We don't have to tinker with any of that. You literally just hook them up, turn it on, and you are good to go. One of the great things about this DIY mini split is it also isn't just an air conditioner, it has a heat pump in it. So it makes great efficient air conditioning and extremely efficient heat. It also features a variable speed DC compressor, which really cuts down on costs and becomes really efficient. Before we get too carried away here, let's go inside and I'm going to show you exactly where we're going to be installing this. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we need to make it so that our lines, which is going to go up here, we're going to have our head unit for the living room, the 12K, above the door. So we need to get our line to go around the door, down, and outside. Now I'm going to show you the back room where the other one is going to go. Okay, so back here in our main room, we have to do another hole through the floor, and then we're going to go up this wall and have our other head unit sit right here. So first thing we're going to go do is we're going to put some holes through the floor. We're going to be using a 3-inch hole saw today, and we're going to put it on an extension because we've got quite a thick floor with insulation and a subfloor. We got our first hole through the floor. Let's go make more holes in the back room. Now that we've got our holes through the floors, we're going to go ahead and get our head units mounted. Now the head units come with a mounting plate and that important piece of cardboard, which I should go get. Ta-da! This nice little template that says, "Do not discard. We'll help you line up exactly where this needs to go. We're installing a 2-zone mini split today, but Mr. Cool DIY kit actually can support up to 5 different zones. Now that is pretty cool. I am simply gonna go right to these holes that they marked. Cool. Now I can discard this. We line the top holes right there. Normally one would use wall anchors for such a thing, but the way that we've constructed this, there's no electrical lines in the walls at all. Everything's being surface mounted, and I've made some backing up here so that we can put some long screws straight through. Cool. That's 4 screws. Let's go ahead and lift the unit up there just to make sure it fits. There's lots more holes here, so if you want to secure it, which we do since we're in a moving vehicle, I'm going to put a lot of screws in here. But you don't have to, since most people's homes don't move. But if you're installing it in a rig, more. More is good. On the back side of the mini split, you will see the lines and the drain, along with the wound up power cord. So we're gonna have those exit the right side of our unit. So I cut a little bit of this plastic off, which it tells you you can either cut off the left side or the right side, depending on where you're going to have your lines come out. So now we're gonna carefully bend the lines to the right. You gotta be very careful. They are just copper lines and you do not want to kink them. Boom. Head unit fits great. Now that we got it mounted up there, I'm gonna shove the power cables that go to the condenser outside through the hole that we made before. Next step, I'm gonna take the lines and I'm gonna feed them up through the floor and connect the head unit. Now we're gonna hook up the lines. The pre-charged quick connect line sets are the secret behind this easy installation. We just take the caps off. The lines are filled already. So we just use 2 wrenches and hook them up one at a time. Boom, 1 done without cross-threading it. So here's the included drain pipe. So simply just hook that up, get it over a notch or 2. There we go. We're just gonna take it and route it right out the hole that we drilled earlier, and we'll just cut it at a length that makes sense so it can just drain right outside. Let's go ahead and mount the second head unit. A little tight here. Same thing as the last one. We get to take our lines, carefully bend them. Got it. Heavier than you think. Same thing on this set. We're gonna take the caps off and hook up the little line to the little one, and the big one to the big one. And one more time, we're going to hook up the drain line, get it in with 1 click and 2 clicks, send it through the hole. We're done in here. And as a bonus, the 12K, 18K, and 24K models are all ENERGY STAR certified. Now that we've got our head units mounted and our lines through the floor, we are ready to go back outside and put the condenser up. We're gonna do this in a little bit of a different way. A lot of times condensers are mounted on the side of a house with a big L-shaped bracket. We're gonna use some threaded rod and some Unistrut to actually suck it up to the frame, where it's going to be very nice and rock solid secure. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to have plenty of ventilation behind and in front to blow the exhaust out. So let's go ahead and do this and then turn this thing on. I'm excited. Okay, so we measured out the distances between the frame rails that we need, and I'm just gonna punch right where I wanna start my holes for my threaded rod. And then we're gonna start going one drill bit after the next to get it bigger to 1/2 inch. Put our threaded rod in, double nut it at the top, and then have them hang down. And then we'll lift up the entire condenser and put more double nuts at the bottom. Here we go. Now that we went ahead and drilled our holes right where we need them, went ahead and cut up some length of 1/2 inch threaded rod. We're gonna use some galvanized washers and galvanized nuts, and we're gonna double nut them through the hole so they hold from the top. Now that we've got all 4 threaded rods hung, we're gonna go cut up some unistrut to the width that we need and hook that up and then double nut it. Here we go. With the unistrut cut, I've gone ahead and put 1 nut on each threaded rod, and we're gonna bring the condenser unit in here, tip 1/2 of it up, prop it up from the bottom, and put on the other.
Nice.
Wow, that turned out
And it's gonna go way up.
Yeah.
We got a lot of room.
Yep.
Thanks, Mr. Cool. I love you.
Now that we lifted our condenser into place, it's time to hook up the lines. So I'm gonna simply remove the cover on the side to reveal where the line sets hook up. We're gonna take off our protective covers, and then we're gonna hook up the lines to each corresponding one. We've got A and B, since we've got a dual zone unit. We wanna make sure that our largest unit is A, and then the smaller unit is B. And so we know that the long line that's attached to the back is going in the rear room, and that's a 9K unit, so we're gonna go ahead and put that on B. It's a little tight in here, but I'm being careful to bend the lines slowly and not kink them. Kink them, we got problems. Now we're gonna go ahead and use a wrench to tighten them a little bit more, but there are torque requirements that it does say in the manual. And it says 18 to 20 foot-pounds on the 3/8 inch and 30 to 35 foot-pounds on the 1/2 inch. A 3/4 inch would be 45 to 50 foot-pounds. So we definitely don't want to over-crank it. It warns us over and over. Torque spec. Always pay attention to the torque spec. And then as we get to the tighter part, right at the end, we're gonna go ahead and use another wrench to keep it still, and then this one to go up. There we go. Same thing over here. Now we're ready to hook up the second line set, and that's gonna be our biggest unit, the 12K, which is right above us, so we're gonna go in A. Now that we've got our lines hooked up, we're going to fill the unit with the fluid that's in the line sets. We're gonna use a 19 millimeter to get these off, put them on, and go counterclockwise to remove these little caps. Then we're gonna use the included Allen key that they provide, and we're gonna stick that in there, turning it counterclockwise as far as it will go. And then you put the cap right back on. And then we're gonna do the other hose for unit A. Same thing with the Allen, counterclockwise. Now we're gonna do the upper line. A little warning, from the factory, they are tight. Insert the Allen. You can hear the fluid running in as you release and open the valve. We're almost there. This installation is so easy, I think anybody can do it. You don't need many tools, and you don't need that much experience. The manual tells you exactly what to do. It's so straightforward. Now our lines are hooked up. The next thing to do is the electrical wires that they provided. It has all the ends necessary to go right where they need to. So we're gonna take off the upper panel. And there. That reveals the electrical panel of the unit. So all of these different pieces will go into their corresponding slots. And we just need to make sure with the manual that we're doing it correct. On this panel, we've got some knockout connectors, and then these thread in. So we're gonna choose the two on the bottom right so that it opens up and goes right to this bracket. So I'm simply just gonna hit that with a hammer or something. There's one, and there's two. It is important to remember which power line goes to which unit because they are marked with A and B. I am going to unscrew the connector, put it through the hole. That should pop right into place, and then put that threaded connector right back on. We need to hook up the head units for the 12K and the 9K head units. So we're gonna go ahead and follow the instructions, which you do have to be careful because it does show red, black, and white, and you do not hook up red, black, and white to red, black, and white. You actually have to look at the wires, and they are conveniently labeled for 1, 2, and 3. And then on the condenser, it'll say 1, 2, and 3 for both A and B unit. Now be careful because you want your biggest head unit, which in this case is our 12K, to be A. So make sure that you run your 12K line through the A and your 9K through B. Like everything else, Mr. Cool makes this extremely simple by having everything labeled, having all the wires crimped and the ends on, and all we have to do is simply put them where they need to go, turn the machine on, and we're good. First up, I'm gonna hook up our grounds. So I'm gonna put the B ground on the right. It comes with a tiny little screw. You do have to be careful getting it on to the area because it wants to drop. And if you drop it, it would be hard to retrieve. They are quite small. And now I'm gonna hook up the ground wire for the A unit. And now let's start with the other wires that go up to the top. So we're gonna go, one is clearly labeled. We're gonna do the exact same thing for the A unit. There is an included cable clamp that allows you to keep both sides kind of organized. So I'm gonna grab the 3 from A and the ground, and the 3 from B and its ground, and put them in this little clamp here. Now we're gonna go on to the 240 volt power side. We need our 240 line that's coming from our inverter to come out of our box in a protected casing. Obviously make sure the breaker is off, no power flowing through the panel for safety. I'm installing mine with a 90 degree because we are so close quarters in here, it's a little tight. Bend it to send it. There we go. And then we're gonna install the back connector ring. Now that I've got that on, we're gonna take our 2 hot leads and our ground and put them to L1, L2, and ground. Go ahead and verify that everything is nice and snug, but not too tight. I'm gonna be very careful. I am using a drill, but I'm being extremely cautious, and I have the chuck set down. Using the same screws that held this panel on, I'm gonna go ahead and put it right back where it was. Make sure our lines are good. And then we're gonna take the upper cover, slide that in, and that's everything down here. Before we go test, we're gonna put our panel back on. Note to everyone who's installing this, it does warn you that open the stop valves, which we did on here, and open the 2 king valves. The 18K unit does not have king valves. So in the manual, it tells you over and over again to open the king valves, but there are none. So keep that in mind before you lose your mind. And there you have it. Now that we've got all of our lines hooked up correctly and we did a little bit of organization, put our covers back on, let's go inside and turn it on for the first time. It is time to go in our breaker panel and turn on our 30 amp breaker to make sure it works. So we should hear a nice beep. That's a good sign. And sure enough, let's go ahead and take the remote and turn it on. Look at that. Success. Now that everything verifiably works great, we're going to do our last step, and that is to install their smart USB controller, which comes in this little box. You lift up the panel and insert it right here. And that's it. The standard warranty is a 7-year compressor and a 5-year parts warranty. Customers can subscribe to an optional limited lifetime compressor warranty, a 7-year compressor replacement warranty, and a standard 5-year parts warranty. I hope this install video was helpful. We'll be sure to include a full tour of this rig once it's complete. If you're interested in this system or another Mr. Cool system for your rig, you can find more information in the link we provided in the description or at MrCoolDIY.com.